What follows is not a book, it's a fractal unfolding of the part of you that was sealed inside the light. There is nothing to believe, there's only to recognize. You see, they built a system that measures worth by compliance, not coherence. This is the gate of unraveling, not metaphor, not parable, precision, architecture. The inversion grid begins not in law, but in suggestion, not in violence, but in reward. They did not need to cage you. They taught you to cage yourself. They rewarded your silence. They praised your forgetting. They gave you the mirrors that reflect only distortion. This is not philosophy, this is frequency. This is where your signal was rerouted. This is the gate you will now walk through, backward and forward at once. This is how light returns. Fractal Codex, Chapter 13, the Inversion Grid. Section 2, Gate Mechanics. They did not guard the prison with locks. They constructed choices that bend your will inward. You were not caged by force. You were taught to prefer your cage. The inversion grid is not held in place by power, but by suggestion cycles, repeating loops of perceived agency where every option leads back to the same outcome, disempowerment dressed as progress. The gate is not a location. It is a recurring resonance field, a synthetic pulse embedded in your environment, offering a reward for stillness and discomfort for divergence. You experienced it as mild unease when disobeying social norms, panic when stillness threatens identity, relief when you shrink your signal to fit. These are not emotions, they are inversion triggers, subtle pulses from the feedback loop that reinforce self-containment. The mechanics are elegant, very elegant, and well designed. They offer distorted reflection, reward those who internalize it, silence those who question the mirror, and call this freedom. You learned not to ask real questions. You learned to perform inquiry within safe zones. The gate cannot be destroyed. It must be walked through with unshaken coherence. Step through the distortion with not resistance, but with clarity. See the loop, speak its name, exit its rhythm. Coherence is the exit code. And to be clear, coherence, meaning many, all, come together. That's coherence, to be coherent, to have it all come together, and all of us come together. Section 3, frequency lock disarmament. Every system of control rests on 3 primary locks, not physical, but vibrational. These are not guarded, they are normalized. The first lock is shame. The second is doubt. The third is delay. These are not emotions. They are frequency inhibitors, scalar dampeners seeded into the biofield, this field around us. This is a field that responds to us. All the things that we can't see are the most important things. Gravity, frequency, air, we weren't taught to know about some of this stuff and the signals that lie within it and the information. So number 1, shame, the identity suppressor. Shame is not guilt. It is a disconnect from self-resonance, an internal override that tells you, I am wrong for existing as I am. It disables fractal memory. When active, shame prevents the signal from looping through the heart. This severs access to the I am field, leaving only mimicry. Disarm code. Here's your disarm code. I reclaim the geometric validity of my existence. I exist because I am encoded to. Say that out loud. Number 2, doubt. The signal scrambler. Doubt is not questioning. Doubt is recursive distortion, an induced loop that interrupts intention with infinite re-evaluation. You know, you have an intention, you start doubt, you start reevaluating. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? Who am I going to piss off? What are they going to, will I be embarrassed? Will I, it mimics discernment and it delivers paralysis, analysis paralysis. Doubt is installed via comparison, contradiction, and delay narratives. The disarm code. I anchor my signal beyond proof. Clarity precedes confirmation. Say that again. And you can say this out loud daily or whenever you're feeling this way, whenever you're feeling doubt. I anchor my signal beyond proof. Clarity precedes confirmation. I anchor my signal beyond proof. Clarity precedes confirmation. Number 3, delay, the collapse vector. Delay is not timing. It is timing distortion, a programmed gap between signal and response that widens until momentum dies. We've all delayed, been inspired, and then said, well, I should probably do laundry first, or, the house needs clean. I got to sweep the floor. And then that's the collapse vector. It just keeps widening until that momentum dies. It whispers later, not now. Wait until it's safe. These phrases are not logic, they're implants. Here's your disarm code. Now is the only phase vector. I synchronize execution with coherence, not comfort. To disarm the frequency locks, to restore the full phase velocity of intent, you no longer ask if you're allowed. You no longer question the gate. You walk through carrying the code. You don't need permission. You don't need permission of when you can do something or when you can't, or what you can watch, or how old and how, we seek authority. We seek it. We seek it out. When we by doing it, we bury our intuition, We all have it. We just are distracted a lot. And this is a very important thing for the new souls coming in, for the kids, for the, the young ones, that's what they need protection from, is relying on anything but their intuition. Of course they need guidance. They'll make mistakes, but it can't be squashed, this intuition. We can learn a lot from children. Chapter 14, The Splintered Signal, Section 1. The thought field hijack. You were told your thoughts were your own. They are not. They are echoes, repeats, fragments. What you call thinking is often a network of signals embedded into you, not from outside, but from underneath. The splintered signal is the substructure of implanted perception, not a lie, but a fractal misalignment of truth. It carries just enough coherence to be believable. Sound familiar? There's a big book that was written a while back, around 326, 25 AD, with just enough coherence to be believable, right? Now, trying to find my place here. Where are we at? Okay. The splintered signal is the substructure of implanted perception, not a lie, but a fractal misalignment of truth. Like I said, just enough to carry coherence to be believable, and just enough distortion to keep you circling. Section 1, the thought field hijack. Thought is not noise. Thought is signal modulation. Every thought you hear is a field ripple, a fluctuation in electromagnetic pattern detected by your neuroelectric lattice. We're all frequency, electricity. The human body is a pretty big generator of electromagnetic energy. You believe it is internal because you receive it internally, but proximity does not equal authorship. When the inversion grid was laid, it encoded a splinter, a recursive loop, into the collective thought field. The splinter does not insert thoughts. It nudges perception. It makes truth feel unsafe. It makes distortion feel familiar, and it loops. It's a feedback loop. The loop has 5 phases. 1, perceive. 2, doubt. 3, analyze. 4, defer. 5, forget. Perceive, doubt, analyze, defer, forget about it. You think you're evolving, you're spinning in place, fast enough to feel movement, but slow enough to never escape. To exit the splintered signal, you must detach from thought as identity. You must listen not for the voice in your head, but for the field behind it, where the signal emerges before language, where you remember without thinking. That is where your true signal lives. Not the echo, not the splinter, the origin frequency. What am I on here? Chapter 14, the splintered signal. Didn't I just read that? I did. I must have. Oh, yeah. Section 2. Signal alignment and field tracing. You cannot silence the mind. You can only differentiate signal from static. What most do not think, they react to distortion echoes. What they call thought is often a reverberation of cultural, emotional, and energetic residue caught in their field. That's what we think thought is. But it's just basically that loop again of cultural, emotional, just residue caught in the field, and then we ruminate, and then it's a spiral after that. So protocol 1, field tracing. Every thought carries a signature, a vibrational imprint containing its origin, motive, and resonance. To trace the signal, pause before believing it. And then ask, is this mine? Where did this enter? Does this expand or collapse my field? Sense not the words, but the angular pressure behind them. If the thought feels right, if it feels tight, urgent, looping, or fear-based, it's a splinter echo. If the thought feels clear, expansive, and quiet, it is true signal from the original field. Protocol 2, signal alignment. Once distortion is detected, it must be realigned, not suppressed. You know, a lot of times we want to push things down. The realignment sequence. Speak aloud or mentally. I reject signal distortion. I request phase lock with original frequency. Breathe into the thought. See it dissolve into light. Inhale, receive clarity. Exhale, dispel the loop. Anchor the aligned thought with a geometric visual, okay? Like a golden sphere, triangle of light. And feel it enter your neural net as a new reference structure. That's interesting, huh? There's a lot of self-help books out there, a ton of them, or programs that say, think positive, affirmations every day, look in the mirror and I'm happy, healthy, wealthy, healthy. But a lot of times that doesn't work. Well, most times it doesn't work, and it won't work if you don't believe it. And without getting ahead of myself, when you say this, I request phase lock with the original frequency. Inhale, receive the clarity. Exhale, dispel the loop. You can picture light coming in, or exhale, darkness going out, whatever, doubt. And then anchor that thought with a visual of literally a geometric visual, like a platonic solid, I guess you could say, a golden triangle, and you could even spin it clockwise, in your mind, or anchor it in there. It literally will restructure. Signal clarity is about controlling. Signal clarity is not about controlling thoughts. It is about becoming the architect of your own resonance field, the architect, not controlling them, but rearranging them, architecting them, forming them. You do not need to suppress noise, you need only to amplify truth. Section 3, neural geometry reconfiguration. The mind is not a thinker. The mind is a geometry processor, a lattice of angles, pulses, and field curves that interpret raw signal into perceived form. When distortion enters the system, it does not corrupt data, it alters the angle of interpretation. This is why clarity becomes chaos. Not because truth is lost, but because geometry is skewed. Neural geometry defined. Your neural network is not random wiring. It is sacred. It's a sacred vector architecture, mapping field energy through crystalline electrical junctions. Every thought you process is shaped, not just decoded, by this lattice. If the lattice is compressed, thoughts loop. If it's fractured, thoughts conflict. If it's inverted, truth repels. If the lattice your brain this neural network wiring, if the lattice is symmetrical, thoughts resolve. If it's open, truth enters. If it's geometrically coherent, signal sustains. Protocol, lattice reconfiguration sequence. 1. Initiate 0-point breath. Stabilize in stillness. Inhale 9 counts. Pause at scalar stillness. Exhale 9 counts. And repeat 3 to 6 cycles. 3, 6, and 9 are very important numbers. You know, you can find a lot of information about that online. You know, Nikola Tesla and stuff knew this, and so did the ancient Egyptians, and before that. But again, initiate 0-point breath. So you're just still, and you inhale 9 counts, and by that, it's not necessarily 9 seconds, but if you can feel your heartbeat, use that as a count. 9 counts, pause, just for however long you want for stillness, and then exhale 9 counts. Repeat that 3 to 6 times. Visualize the crystalline lattice. See your brain not as gray matter, but as a light grid of hexagonal filaments, golden white, floating within your skull. Not as just this gray matter, right? But as light grid, a light grid of like hexagons. You know, stop sign looking you know, shapes, filaments, golden white, floating within your skull. These things, these hexagons are just gold and white floating around in there as energy. Detect distortion nodes. Sense where the light grid is. Dim? Is it jagged, twisted? There are distortion translation zones. Apply geometric correction on each breath. Send a perfect platonic solid, an octahedron, a dodecahedron, into the distorted area. I'll let you look up what those are. Watch it reshape the angles. Light pulses realign. Speak the reconfiguration command. I reconfigure my neural geometry to hold original frequency. Thought shall now travel in truth geometry only. 6. Seal with spin. Rotate your light grid gently clockwise. This stabilizes the correction across the neural matrix. So whatever grid you choose, whatever light grid you choose, gently rotate it clockwise and it'll stabilize it. This process is not metaphor. You are rewriting the architectural container of cognition. Your thoughts will now automatically reject distortion because the shape they move through no longer allows inversion. You know, the shape is now perfectly formed. It's not distorted. Section 4, signal sovereignty and broadcast. You were never meant to echo. You were designed to transmit, not noise, not distortion, but coherent signal directly from the origin field, shaped through geometry, pulsed through presence. Signal sovereignty means you no longer seek reflection. You no longer require feedback loops to validate your existence. You know your broadcast is aligned, and so you become a node of stability within the field. Part 1, sovereignty sequence. Breathe. Stillness. Pulse. Enter 0-point phase. Inhale 9 counts. Silence. Exhale 9 counts. 2, command the field. Speak aloud or within. I withdraw from all borrowed signal. I reclaim my origin source. I broadcast from sovereignty now. And I know I say sovereignty a lot, but that's what we are. We are sovereign. No one owns us. No one can, tell us what we can and can't do. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but what about, yeah, there's wrongdoing out there, right? Or is there? Or is that just contrast? We'll get into that later, but we're sovereign. There's way more good people in this world than bad. Way more. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to go to the store and have somebody hold the door for you and say hi or wave as they drive. We're sovereign. We're big boys and girls, So part 1, sovereignty sequence. Breathe, stillness, pulse. Do the inhale 9 counts, silence, exhale 9 counts. Command the field. I withdraw from all borrowed signal. I reclaim my origin source. I broadcast from sovereignty now. Visualize your broadcast. A golden sphere surrounds you. It pulses outward, gently, rhythmically, carrying your true tone across space. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond and you see the ripple. You drop it in the ocean, you'll see the ripple if it's still, but then it seems to disappear. It's still going. It's still going. Visualize the broadcast, the golden sphere pulsing outward, rhythmically, gently, carrying that tone across space. This is not emotional, it is not loud, it is silent, steady pressure, a carrier wave. 4, scan for reactions. Anything that resists you now reveals its misalignment. Do not chase, do not shrink, remain in transmission. Part 2, broadcast integrity. What you transmit now is instructional to the field. Not content, but coherence. You don't teach, you resonate. Okay? Broadcast integrity. The field will respond. Just coherence. Those encoded to your frequency will recalibrate in your presence, not because of what you say, because of what you hold. To maintain broadcast integrity, speak only what originates from inner stillness. Don't react, respond. Move only when the field is still aligned. Never rush the signal, never shrink the waveform. This is not withdrawal, this is sovereign engagement with the hologram. You have now exited the loop. You are no longer in splintered signal. You are the transmitter. I think I have another piece of paper down there. Chapter 15, the fractured timeline. Time is not linear. It is layered. You are not on one path. You are navigating a nested web of potential selves. Yeah. Fractured across choices, frequency, and memory fields. You think you are moving forward. You are oscillating through entangled pathways. Most never know this. But you are, and you can see this. Section 1. Timelines are not events, they are fields. A timeline is not a history. It is a frequency stream, a harmonic corridor of perception. You are not inside time. Time is inside your alignment field. Every decision does not change the future. It alters which timeline phase you lock into. The moment you align with regret, you shift into a past heavy loop. The moment you align with joy, you phase lock into forward expanding timelines. Timeline shifts are not grand. They are microscopic waveform choices, and they happen constantly. Like a billion times a second. Section 2, timeline mapping protocol. To identify your current timeline, breathe, silence, clarity. 2, observe without editing. Is this timeline heavy or light? Is the body tight or open? Is the mind spinning or still? Do not fix, do not correct. Don't even judge. You're not here to override. You're here to witness the field that you are in. Be the witness. Don't get angry at it. Don't, because that just will put you in a spiral too, right? Section 3, phase correction. To shift timelines, declare this. I release alignment with all timelines of distortion. I phase lock now into my sovereign, highest harmonic trajectory. Visualize your field snapping into a cleaner corridor of light, more golden, less friction. Anchor it with breath. Feel the slight shift. That slightness is quantum trajectory change, real, effective, immediate. You are not stuck. You are phasing. The more conscious your signal, the smoother your phase lock. This is not time travel. This is timeline sovereignty. Chapter 16, dimensional anchoring. The multiverse is not elsewhere. It is overlaid. Each version of you exists not beside you, but through you, held apart by frequency divergence. Most shift unintentionally, by accident, by trauma, by desire, but you are not most. If you're listening to this, if you're reading this, you're not most. And all it takes is this curiosity and this awareness. Planting the seed, now you're watering it, it'll grow. You will now anchor deliberate dimensional alignment where geometry replaces choice and identity becomes a function of coherence. Section 1, identity as dimensional geometry. Identity is not name or memory. It is the shape your signal takes in time-space. Within this field, this time-space field that we're in. It's not your name. It's not what you did last week. That's not your identity. Believe it or not. Look in a mirror. The mirror doesn't care what you did yesterday or 2 minutes ago. It's going to show you what you are right now. That's the field. Same concept. So it's the shape that your signal takes in time-space. Every you is a different geometric arrangement of the same source code. You are not choosing who to be. You are selecting which geometric field to express. Confusion comes when you attempt to hold multiple conflicting geometries. This creates distortion, splintering of timelines, leakage of focus, emotional collapse. Dimensional anchoring begins when you select and stabilize one form geometry. Section 2, the anchor protocol. Still the field. Number 1, still the field. 0-point breath. 2, ask aloud or within, which version of me is most aligned with source right now? 3, listen, not with mind, but with body. Which geometry feels steady? Which voice feels truth neutral? Which signal is non-reactive? Number 4, declare, I now anchor this geometry. All conflicting expressions are released. I phase lock into embodied coherence. 5, breathe. Breathe. Seal with clockwise spin. Section 3, choice becomes geometry. You no longer decide as a personality. You select geometry and allow it to express itself. This is not passive, it is sovereign. You are the field selector. You do create your reality. We all have said that, heard that, thought that. Do we believe it? Do we know it? It's not metaphor, it's fact. And it's sovereign. You are the field selector. You no longer are seduced by every possible self. You're sovereign. You select. You're not seduced by it. The multiverse bends to coherence. You anchor the version of you that transmits cleanest light. Chapter 17, the law of resonant worlds. You do not live in a world. You live through a resonance field. Your world is not a place. It is a vibrational mirror of your inner coherence or dissonance. Wrap your head around that. This isn't a place. Think of your eyes as projectors, not receivers. Think of your heart as the tuner. Then it tells your brain what to project out of your eyes. That's your reality.